Welcome to the fascinating world of Greek mythology and have fun with ME4 Smart Learning.
The liberation of the Olympic gods. The world under the rule of Cronus resembled a dark shadow of its former glory. In the Golden Age, the earth flourished in abundant richness, and humanity thrived in peace. However, the reign of Cronus marked an era of terror. Each of his steps caused the earth to tremble, and his decisions struck like lightning from a clear sky, unpredictable and merciless. Above him loomed the prophecy like a Damocles sword. One of his sons would rise to overthrow him, just as he had once usurped his father Uranus. This fear fueled his cruelty, ultimately leading to the downfall of his own children. In the depths of his profound paranoia, Cronus had devoured each of his newborn children. One after another they met their fate in his insatiable stomach. Hestia, Hera, Demeter, Hades, and Poseidon. However, the youngest, Zeus, was saved by his mother Rhea. She concealed him in a cave on Crete, while Cronus unwittingly swallowed a stone wrapped in swaddling clothes. The prophecy endured, despite Cronus's firm belief that he had extinguished it. The years passed, and Zeus matured, nourished by the strength of the earth and the profound wisdom of the nymphs who nurtured him. When the moment arrived, he returned, no longer an innocent child, but as a young god, whose power echoed with every step he took. He was aware that his siblings remained ensnared in the depths of Cronus' belly, alive, yet stifled by dark magic. With cunning, Zeus managed to infiltrate Cronus's palace disguised as a mere servant. The Titans paid him no heed, for what could a single mortal do against the unbridled power of the Titans? Yet Zeus was no ordinary servant. He was the son of Cronus, destined to challenge his father's tyranny. Blinded by his own arrogance, Cronus failed to notice the threat that stirred nearby. Day after day, Zeus waited patiently, his heart racing with anticipation, until the moment arrived when he offered Cronus a potion. The potion that would ultimately bring an end to his reign. The potion prepared by the goddess Metis, the deity of wise counsel, unleashed the unimaginable. Cronus's proud form quaked as a dreadful cough erupted from him. With a thunderous cry, he expelled the first of his offspring, Hestia, the goddess of the hearth. She was succeeded by Demeter, the goddess of fertility and harvest. Hera, the destined queen of the gods, Poseidon, the future sovereign of the seas, and finally Hades, the somber lord of the underworld. The liberation of the Olympic gods marked a pivotal moment. Though still weakened, they stood resolutely by their brother Zeus, filled with determination. Their gazes fell upon Cronus, who quaked and howled in agony, unable to grasp the reality of the situation. In his eyes blazed fury, yet lurking behind that fire was the fear that had tormented him throughout the years. Zeus, who had now assumed command over his liberated siblings, spoke with a resolute voice. "Father, your reign has come to an end. You have consumed us, yet we return to right the wrongs you have inflicted upon the world. Your time is over." Cronus's reaction was a choked cry of fury and despair, as he realized that the prophecy had come to fruition. His reign as the ruler of the gods was nearing its end, yet he was determined not to surrender without a struggle. The war against the Titans, the Titanomachy, loomed on the horizon. Zeus knew that the impending battle was far more than merely the downfall of his father. It signified the dawn of a new order, a new world destined to transcend the dominion of the old generation of gods. However, to secure victory in this conflict, the Olympian gods required more than their own strength. They needed allies, powerful beings whom Cronus had once banished to the deepest abysses of Tartarus. Zeus stood high upon the summit of Olympus, surrounded by his siblings. The wind danced through their garments as they gazed down upon the world that had once endured Cronus's iron rule. Now, liberated from his belly, they were reunited, a new generation of gods, yet still far from possessing the strength to vanquish the Titans alone. The spark of rebellion flickered in their eyes, but they understood that they lacked the power to overthrow Cronus, not without assistance. Zeus, standing at the center, addressed his siblings. His voice was resolute, yet the fire of determination blazed in his eyes. Cronus and the Titans are many, and their power is timeless. If we are to triumph in this war, we must seek out allies. Hades, who stood quietly and solemnly beside him, nodded slowly. The Titans have oppressed us for centuries. However, there are others who have also endured suffering under the reign of Cronus, the Cyclopes and the Hecatonchires. Out of fear of their power, he has cast them into the deepest abysses of Tartarus. Demeter, the goddess of the earth and fertility, moved closer and gazed intently at Zeus. The journey to Tartarus is a considerable one, dear brother, and even if we manage to reach it, who can guarantee that they will pursue us? Her power is immense, replied Hera, standing resolutely beside Demeter. The Hecatonchires, the 100-handed giants, are warriors of unimaginable strength. As for the Cyclopes, they once forged weapons for Uranus and Gaia that reverberated through the very fabric of the world. If we can convince them to join our cause, we shall triumph over the Titans. Zeus looked seriously at his siblings. We have no alternative. If we do not defeat Cronus and his Titans, the world will be plunged into everlasting darkness. Tartarus may be perilous, but it is our sole glimmer of hope. Poseidon, whose tempestuous temperament often preceded him, stepped forward. I shall command the seas and ensure that Cronus receives no reinforcements across the waters. But heed my warning, Zeus. Tartarus is more than merely a prison. It is a realm of despair and madness. Many have ventured there, yet few have returned. Zeus nodded, yet the resolve in his gaze remained steadfast. I shall descend into Tartarus myself. Hades will accompany me. Together we shall liberate the Cyclopes and the Hecatonchires, persuading them to ally with us in our battle against the Titans. Hades gazed solemnly into the distance, his dark eyes brimming with the knowledge of the abysses that lay ahead. The Tartarus, the deepest of all hells. However, if this is the price for our freedom, then we are prepared to pay it. Demeter rested her hand gently on Zeus's arm. We shall remain here and ready the world. It is crucial that we unite our strengths and be prepared when the moment arrives. Zeus, who carried the weight of leadership heavily upon his shoulders, nodded thoughtfully. Once we have secured our allies, the war shall commence. With these words, Zeus set off alongside Hades. They departed from Olympus, the abode of the gods who are destined to become the future rulers of the universe, and ventured onto the path that descended into the ominous depths of Tartarus. It was a shadowy and treacherous route, one that had been traversed by only a handful before them, and even fewer had ever returned. The remaining gods, Hera, Demeter, Poseidon, and Hestia, remained behind to consolidate their strength and prepare for the imminent battle. The Titans would not surrender their power without a fight, and they needed to be fully prepared. However, deep within their hearts, a flicker of hope began to emerge. The era of the Titans was nearing its end, and with Zeus leading the charge, they would forge a new world order. The search for allies in Tartarus. The air thickened and became more oppressive as Zeus and Hades distanced themselves from the luminous heights of Olympus. The world beneath them dimmed, losing its brilliance and clarity as they plunged deeper into the earth. The route to Tartarus, the most sinister of all realms, was laden with perils, concealed within an everlasting gloom. The two gods advanced in silence, interrupted only by the distant rumble of the earth and the thunderous crash of the ocean against the jagged rocks of the underworld. Zeus's determination propelled him forward without hesitation. Hades, his brother, trailed behind in grim silence, yet his eyes betrayed the foreboding of what lay ahead. Tartarus was more than a mere prison. It was a living abyss, a chasm of despair and ancient terrors that had slumbered there since the dawn of time. In this dark realm, Cronus had exiled all who posed a threat to his power. The Cyclopes and the Hecatonchires, beings of immense strength and unfathomable ferocity. The gates of Tartarus finally loomed before them, colossal and menacing. They were forged from black rock, rough and insurmountable, as if they were an extension of the darkness itself. The air was so dense that it felt almost unbreathable, and a faint ghostly whisper permeated the void surrounding them. It was the breath of the forgotten, the souls eternally lost in the abyss of Tartarus. "Here ends the light," declared Hades in his deep, echoing voice. "No god has ever ventured into these depths and emerged unscathed." Zeus's eyes sparkled with resolve. "We have no alternative. Lacking the might of the Cyclopes and Hecatonchires, we stand no chance against the Titans. They alone possess the ability to shatter Cronus's dominion." With a mighty blow of his fist, Zeus opened the massive gates of Tartarus. A thunderous rumble shook the earth as the doors slowly creaked open, revealing the darkness beyond. Nothing but bottomless blackness lay before them, a deep, endless chasm that swallowed the light and left only cold and emptiness in its wake. They stepped inside, and with each step, time itself seemed to slow down, as if the laws of the world no longer applied here. They ventured deeper through endless corridors that cut into the rock like immense gorges. No living creature was in sight, yet the feeling of menace intensified with each step. In the distance, they heard the dull pounding of colossal hearts. The ancient beings imprisoned here awaited the moment they would reclaim their freedom. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they stepped into a vast cave bathed in an eerie glow. Before them towered the colossal figures of the Cyclopes. Their bodies were immense, sculpted from coarse, unrefined earth, and their single eyes blazed like fiery orbs in the darkness. They were restrained, shackled with chains of divine metal, forged by Cronus himself to subdue their wild power. "Who dares to intrude upon my domain in these shadowy depths?" bellowed Brontes, the eldest of the Cyclopes. His voice thundered through the cave like an earthquake, shaking the very stones of the mountain. Zeus stepped forward with unwavering courage, his voice resonating powerfully in the stillness. "I am Zeus, the son of Cronus, and I have come to liberate you from the shadows that bind you." A deep rumble reverberated through the ranks of the Cyclopes. Their eyes scrutinized him with suspicion, the chains around them clinking ominously. Steropes, one of the Cyclopes, stepped forward, his gaze piercing. "Are you the son of Cronus?" he snarled. "The one who condemned us to this place? What reason do we have to trust you?" Zeus met the gaze of the Cyclopes, his voice calm yet resolute. "I have come to overthrow Cronus. I will put an end to the injustices he has inflicted upon you. If you assist me in defeating the Titans, I shall restore your freedom." A long, profound silence enveloped the space following his words. The Cyclopes, once the most formidable forgers of the gods, fixed their gaze upon Zeus and Hades, their flame-like eyes piercing into the very souls of the two brothers. Finally, Brontes spoke once more, his voice resonating with a deep, menacing tone. "Freedom? Do you promise us what Cronus once seized from us?" Zeus nodded in agreement. "I pledge you my honor. Together we shall bring down Cronus and the Titans, and you will find your rightful place in the new order." Brontes and the other Cyclopes exchanged glances, their expressions filled with anticipation. Then the eldest among them stepped forward, his eyes sparkling with intensity, and declared, "If you grant us our freedom, we shall bestow upon you our formidable strength and unparalleled craftsmanship. We will forge weapons for you that the world has never witnessed before." With a tremendous heave, Zeus shattered the chains binding the Cyclopes, and the towering figures stood tall, at last liberated from their restraints. Brontes, Steropes, and Arges, the most formidable of the Cyclopes, inclined their heads in gratitude towards Zeus. "There is still a force we require," said Hades, gazing into the abyss of Tartarus. "The Hecatonchires. Their might will determine the fate of the Titans." Zeus nodded and, accompanied by the freed Cyclopes, ventured deeper into Tartarus, where the dreaded 100-handed ones lay in wait to unleash their fury upon the world. The Hecatoncheires and the Cyclopes. The darkness of Tartarus seemed to thicken with every step Zeus, Hades, and the liberated Cyclopes took into the gloomy labyrinth. However, the Cyclopes, now unshackled, advanced with boldness. Their immense forms emanated an unstoppable energy. Each footfall resonated as if the very world were acknowledging their release. Yet, an even greater force lay concealed beneath the earth. The Hecatoncheires, the 100-handed ones, who had been cast even further into the abyss. The Hecatoncheires were beings of immense power and nearly unfathomable ferocity. With their 100 arms and 50 heads, they possessed the ability to shatter entire mountains and agitate the seas. Fearing their might, Cronus had cast them into the deepest abysses of Tartarus, where they now exist in perpetual darkness. Zeus and Hades strode resolutely onwards, guided by the rhythmic thrum that rose up from the depths, the colossal hearts of the Hecatoncheires echoing like distant drums. The path led them through narrow, dark gorges. They crossed vast chasms in the ground that seemed to stretch into infinity. The air was cold and heavy, thick with an unsettling silence, and even the Cyclopes who had joined Zeus and Hades appeared to feel the oppressive weight of this place. At last, they arrived at the deepest cave in Tartarus. Before them towered colossal figures, the Hecatoncheires, with their multitude of arms and heads, ensnared within immense stone walls, encircled by heavy chains that bound their limbs tightly. Their eyes, brimming with repressed fury, sparkled in the gloom as they became aware of the gods' arrival. "Who dares to venture into the darkest recesses of Tartarus?" A resonant, thunderous voice reverberated through the cavern as Cronus, one of the Hecatoncheires with his multitude of heads, directed his gaze towards Zeus and Hades. "We have been exiled here because our power was deemed too formidable for the Titans, and now the gods dare to intrude upon our solitude." Zeus stepped forward, undaunted by the immense presence of the Hecatoncheires. "I am Zeus, the son of Cronus. I have come to restore your freedom, provided you stand with me in the battle against the Titans. Together, we can topple Cronus and forge a new world order." Briareos, one of the Hecatoncheires, let out a deep, rumbling laugh that reverberated through the walls. "You, the son of Cronus? Why should we place our trust in you? It was Cronus himself who condemned us to this fate, and now you, his offspring, claim to offer us freedom. What sets you apart from him?" Zeus stood resolute and gazed steadfastly at the formidable creatures. "I am not Cronus. I have outwitted him and liberated my siblings. Now, I present you with the chance to wield your power against him. Join me in toppling the Titans, and you shall be free once more, free to traverse the earth unencumbered without chains or shackles." Hades, standing beside Zeus, spoke with a chilling and resonant voice. "What do you truly have to lose? Here in the shadows you will wither away for all eternity. Yet above, a war looms that has the power to reshape the world. You have the chance to be part of this transformation." A deep rumble reverberated through the cave as the Hecatoncheires, the formidable giants with their myriad of arms, shifted restlessly. The chains clanked ominously, and the rocks quaked beneath their weight. Cronus and Briareos exchanged a knowing glance, as if engaged in a silent conversation, before Cronus turned once more to Zeus. "Very well, Zeus," Cronus declared with unwavering resolve. "If you liberate us, we shall stand alongside you in battle. The Titans will come to understand the consequences of opposing the true might of Tartarus." With a resolute nod, Zeus advanced and lifted his arm. A brilliant lightning bolt erupted from his hand, striking the chains that bound the Hecatoncheires. The divine metal fractured with a deafening roar, and the chains clattered to the ground. Now liberated, the Hecatonchires rose. Their colossal forms towered majestically and menacingly within the cave. "We are free," bellowed Briareos, raising his many arms as if he could seize the whole world. "The Titans will fall." Zeus smiled with a mysterious glint in his eyes. "War is looming on the horizon. With your support, we shall emerge victorious." The Hecatonchires and Cyclopes, now united with the Olympian gods, embarked on their journey home. Tartarus was behind them, while ahead loomed the battle that would irrevocably alter the fate of the world, the Titanomachy. The beginning of the Titanomachy. The world held its breath as the gods of Olympus and their formidable allies emerged from the depths of Tartarus. Dark clouds shrouded the sky, lightning flickered ominously in the distance, and the earth seemed to sense the approaching tempest of the gods. On one side stood Zeus, flanked by his liberated siblings, Hera, Hades, Poseidon, Hestia, and Demeter, alongside the overwhelming Cyclopes and Hecatonchires, who were now amassing their strength, poised to confront the Titans. Zeus stepped forward, clutching the thunderbolt forged for him by the Cyclopes, which radiated with divine energy. With eyes alight with determination, he surveyed the colossal fortress of the Titans that towered before him like a monolith. Atop the throne sat Cronus, encircled by his siblings, the Titans, all poised to battle for their supremacy. The atmosphere crackled with tension as both factions braced themselves for the looming conflict. Cronus rose, his eyes ablaze with fury and might, his voice reverberating through the mountains. "Do you dare to stand against me, Zeus, my own son? Do you truly believe you can conquer the Titans?" Zeus's voice was steady, yet its might caused the clouds to quiver. "Your rule has come to an end, Cronus. The era of the Titans is behind us. I have liberated my siblings, and now we shall forge a new order. There is no longer any room for your tyranny." With a furious roar, Cronus swung his massive sickle, the very weapon that had once toppled his father Uranus, and the battle erupted. The earth trembled as the Titans charged into the fray, bolstered by ancient forces they had nurtured over millennia. Nature itself seemed to rally to their cause as the oceans surged and the mountains appeared to awaken. Yet the Olympian gods and their allies stood poised for the confrontation. The first battle of the Titanomachy was a colossal and tumultuous clash of powers. Poseidon plunged his trident into the surging waves of the sea, unleashing massive tidal waves that crashed against the Titans' fortresses. Hades, donning the helmet of invisibility, stealthily navigated through the enemy ranks, spreading chaos and devastation in his wake. Hera and Demeter fought valiantly side by side, their combined might causing the very ground beneath the Titans' feet to quake and tearing enormous fissures in the earth. But the true turning point in the battle came when Zeus unleashed his thunderbolt upon the Titans. Each strike unleashed powerful bolts of lightning that streaked across the sky, crashing down upon the Titans with an unstoppable force. The Cyclopes, who had forged the weapons for Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades, fought with unrestrained might, shattering the Titans' defenses with their colossal fists. The ground quaked beneath their steps, while the Hecatonchires, with their 100 arms, dismantled the Titans' fortresses, reducing both stones and adversaries to dust. Yet Cronus and his followers proved to be formidable adversaries. The powerful Atlas launched entire mountains at the Olympian gods, while Epimetheus, the brother of Prometheus, sought to outwit the deities with his cleverness. Each battle was intense, every moment draining, yet the gods stood resolute. Zeus observed as the war continued to unfold, with flashes of lightning and the earth's rumbling converging into an unending torrent of chaos and brutality. Yet, amidst this tempest, he remained composed, for he understood that this was the moment everything had been building towards. The prophecy that Cronus had dreaded was on the verge of coming to fruition. "Give up, father!" Zeus cried out across the roaring battlefield. "Your time has come to an end. The Titans are feeble, and your dominion is destined to crumble." Yet Cronus, overwhelmed by fury and despair, struck the earth with his scythe, as if he could sever fate itself. "I will never surrender," he bellowed. "I am time itself, and time is eternal." Zeus's face froze into a mask of determination. "Then you will fall one day, Father." With these words, Zeus raised the thunderbolt once more, and this time his power was boundless. A colossal lightning bolt, more radiant and potent than any that had come before, descended from the heavens and struck directly against Cronus's sickle. The weapon that had wrought such devastation upon the world shattered with a thunderous roar. At that fateful moment, everyone on both sides of the battlefield felt the chilling certainty that the end of the Titans was inexorably approaching. The turning point in the war. The battle raged on, but something had changed. The moment Cronus's sickle shattered beneath Zeus' lightning was a decisive sign, not only for the Olympian gods, but also for the Titans. The air was electrically charged, and the earth trembled incessantly, as if the world itself awaited the outcome of this war. Yet for the first time, it was evident that the Titans were beginning to waver. Zeus stood at the heart of the battlefield, encircled by the shattered remnants of what had once been Cronus's most formidable weapon. His gaze remained resolute, and his hand firmly clutched the thunderbolt, which vibrated gently with latent power. Yet, the outcome of the battle was still far from certain. Cronus's voice, deep and rumbling, resonated across the expansive field. "This is not the end, Zeus," he bellowed, his eyes glinting with unwavering fury. "My power will not shatter as easily as my sickle. My Titans will never surrender." Yet even the mightiest of the Titans began to sense the formidable power of the Olympian gods. The sky darkened ominously as Hera, with all her strength, commanded the clouds and unleashed blinding light upon the Titans, scattering their ranks like leaves in a tempest. Poseidon unleashed colossal floods that surged across the land, while Demeter caused the very ground beneath the Titans' feet to fracture, creating deep chasms in the earth. Amidst the chaos of the Titan war, the true strength of the allies of the Olympian gods was revealed. The Cyclopes, whose mighty blows shattered the fortresses of the Titans like mere sandcastles, fought with a ferocity that made the earth tremble. Their eyes burned with determination, and with each strike of their fists, the bulwarks of the Titans crumbled to dust. The Hecatoncheires, with their 100 arms, whirled across the battlefield like living tempests. No enemy could evade their devastating blows. Their unstoppable force shattered the ranks of the Titans. However, it was not solely brute force that provided the Olympian gods with their advantage. Their combined powers, enhanced by the magic and wisdom of the goddess Metis, who supported Zeus, guided them with clarity and purpose. In contrast, Cronus incited his Titans into battle with wild fury, while the Olympian gods fought with a strategic elegance that the Titans had not foreseen. Hades, shrouded in secrecy, wielded the helmet of invisibility to bring Cronus's most devoted follower, Iapetos, to his knees. With calculated strikes from the shadows, Hades felled the Titan before he even realized what was unfolding. "You have underestimated the darkness, Iapetos," Hades whispered as he pulled his vanquished foe into the depths of obscurity. Even Zeus recognized that the moment for the decisive strike had finally arrived. With a final resounding cry, he let his voice reverberate across the battlefield. "Gods, Titans, this is the moment when our fate shall be determined." With a mighty roar, Zeus hurled his thunderbolt at the titanic fortress, resulting in a blinding explosion of light. The massive walls crumbled under the divine force, scattering the Titans who had sought refuge behind them in all directions. Yet Cronus remained standing, breathing heavily but unbroken. "I shall never recognize you, Zeus," cried Cronus, yet even in his voice there lingered a trace of defeat. Zeus, flanked by his siblings, gazed at his fallen father with resolute determination. "It is not your approval that I seek. It is your downfall that is essential." At that pivotal moment, the Hecatonchires surged forth once more. With their colossal, unstoppable strength, they launched a fierce assault on Cronus and the remaining Titans. Their 100 arms whirled through the ranks of the Titans like a merciless tempest. Each devastating blow shattered the final defenses of the ancient pantheon of gods. And then, in the dazzling brilliance of Zeus's lightning and the thunderous strikes of the Hecatonchires, Cronus began to waver. His formidable body, which had long dictated the fate of the world, crumbled under the relentless assault of the new gods. With a final cry that resonated through the heavens, Cronus sank to his knees. His eyes, once ablaze with fury, now held a fleeting glimmer of pride. Yet it was the pride of a god who understood that his time had come to an end. With a determined stride, Zeus stepped forward, the thunderbolt gripped tightly in his hand, like a fierce dragon poised to strike. "Cronus, this is your end. The world you once ruled no longer belongs to you." Cronus lifted his gaze and looked into the eyes of his son, realizing that the inevitable fate had finally arrived. "You may overthrow me, Zeus," he whispered with a hint of sorrow. "But time is a master to no one. It will catch up with you as well." With one final, thunderous strike from Zeus's mighty thunderbolt, Cronus was cast down to the earth, sealing the fate of the battle. The Titans, shattered and vanquished, fell to their knees. The cataclysmic war that had rocked the very foundations of the world had finally come to an end. Exile of the Titans. The sky had fallen silent as Cronus crashed to the ground. The war that had rattled the world to its very core had finally come to an end. The dust of battle settled like a shroud, and the thunderous roar of nature gradually faded, as if the earth itself was holding its breath in solemn reverence. The Titans, once the mighty rulers of heaven and earth, now lay vanquished. Above them loomed the Olympian gods, who now proclaimed their absolute dominion. Cronus lay on the rugged ground, his massive form pressed into the dust. His gaze was vacant. The fierce anger that had surged through him during the battle had faded away. Now there was only the oppressive silence of defeat. Zeus approached him slowly, the thunderbolt firmly in his grasp, his eyes glinting with divine resolve. This was the moment for which everything had been leading, the downfall of the old ruler and the dawn of a new era. Cronus raised his weary eyes to Zeus, who loomed above him like a dark cloud. "You have triumphed," Cronus whispered, his voice trembling and frail. "Yet time will inevitably consume you as well. No one can evade the grasp of time." Zeus did not respond immediately. Instead, he allowed the words to resonate in the silence of the moment. After a long pause, during which the weight of his words hung in the air, he finally spoke, calm and resolute. "Time may one day claim me, Father, but today your reign ends." With a mighty lightning strike, Zeus bound the defeated Cronus with unbreakable chains of divine light. The chains coiled around Cronus's massive body and dragged him down. In that decisive moment, the once invincible Titan had finally fallen. Yet Zeus knew that the task was far from complete. The other Titans, Cronus's siblings, lay scattered across the battlefield, broken but not dead. They had resisted the new order, and now they faced the consequences of their rebellion. Zeus turned to his siblings, Hera, Poseidon, Hades, Hestia, and Demeter, and gave them a solemn nod, signaling that their fight was not yet over. "The era of the Titans has come to an end," declared Zeus in a voice that resonated like thunder. "For their transgressions, they shall be condemned to the darkest recesses of Tartarus for all eternity. There they will linger, removed from the world, distanced from both mortals and deities. Their names will be eternally entwined with the remembrance of this downfall." Hades moved forward, his gaze cold and determined. "I'll make sure they never break free. I'll make sure Tartarus is their prison, and I'll keep a close eye on their shackles." With a united effort, the Olympic gods invoked their divine powers and opened the gate to Tartarus. The profound chasms of Tartarus, already resonating with the lamentations of the banished and defeated, emerged from the earth. The Titans, shackled and powerless, were hurled one by one into the abyss, their cries and curses intertwining with the foreboding stillness of the underworld. Cronus was the final one to be engulfed by the darkness. Before he disappeared into the abyss of Tartarus, he lifted his gaze to Zeus one last time. "One day you will come to understand, Zeus," he exclaimed, his voice trembling. "The power you pursue will ultimately lead to your ruin, just as it has led to mine." Yet Zeus remained unyielding. "May your name resonate in the shadows, Father," he declared, "for your time has come to an end." With a final resounding roar, Cronus vanished into Tartarus, and the gate slammed shut with a deafening crash. The Titans were banished. Their reign had come to an end. In the silence that followed, the Olympian gods ascended above the battlefield. The world had transformed. A new order had emerged, and the age of the Titans was now merely a distant memory. Zeus stood at the helm of this new era. Yet deep within him, he recognized that his father's words contained a truth he would eventually grasp. However, that day was still far off. For the time being, victory had been secured, and the world now belonged to the Olympian gods.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to this part of our audiobook. We hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to hear more, be sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss future chapters.